Jaguar F-TYPE has already revived Jaguar as a whole brand and got new customers, a new target group really for this kind of Jaguar cars. And after the Roadster, there's now the Coupé, and it is more sporty and stiffer, especially for the racetrack. And today we are showing you how capable this car is really for racing and also for road driving. And we're telling you about the differences to the convertible. And this is the F-TYPE R, the sportiest Jaguar ever. And this 550 horsepower machine will give us a lot of fun. Starting with the design, we see the headlights with a typical J-blade. This is the Jaguar signature light. And we got the supercharged engine and got the black air intakes here. Very beautiful. And then, what is very special design-wise and also from technique, these are the carbon ceramic brake calipers. And you also see the huge brake disc. And they are especially important where you don't need them in everyday driving really, but especially on the racing they're really important because they don't have this fading effect. They're really temperature resistant. As for the side profile, it's of course dominated by the Coupé structure here. Ian Callum, head designer of Jaguar, had done a very well job here, and this is almost kind of the same as the concept car from 2011 from the Frankfurt Motor Show. And I must say, well, I'm a convertible fan, yes, but just design-wise, this Coupé is just so much more beautiful. And as for the rear, we see the strong mudguards at the side flowing about to the rear of the car, which make it a very muscular appearance. And here in the R version, we also got 4 fruits. As for the exhaust pipe, that's only in the R version. So, welcome to the interior. Just take a look inside. This is the new Jaguar interior. It's very beautiful. We got a completely black style here now, but we got a lot of white contrast stitches here. We see here we got leather on the outside and Alcantara on the inside. That's very good because you don't sweat on it so much, and it also gives you more support on the racetrack that you don't slide on the seat that much. The steering wheel up here. I would actually prefer the flattened end one. There is one with a flattened end. This one is very round now. But what I love about the steering wheel is that it doesn't have the leather on, but the Alcantara. It's also very good for racing because you've got a very good grip, and I think it also feels soft for everyday driving. However, you must think that it gets bad actually faster than with the leather steering wheel. The leather steering wheel is more durable than this one. So, sitting inside, you directly feel this racing seating position. Actually, as for my head, it's not that good for tall people because it, you see it ends kind of here. I'm already above the seat with my head, but I got a very good side support. It is inside of the doors. I can also adjust the side of the seats. You'll hear it. Now it kind of pushes me, and I can also release it. Maybe for longer trips or something like that you got more space inside the seat. As for the steering wheel, as good as the steering wheel and the surface is, still these shifting levers here, they just feel cheap, I must say. We already saw that in the convertible, and this is kind of an orange plastic, and it's really soft plastic. It's almost kind of greasy. I think that's not good for a car that costs about 100,000 euros. What I would go for is the panoramic glass roof. We don't have one in here now. The ceiling is very beautiful, also with this soft textile. But the panoramic roof is about 1,000 euros extra, and it's very beautiful. And I would definitely go for it because it makes the interior so much brighter. What is special about the Jaguar is that also in the interior there are always emotional features that makes the car look like being alive. We don't start the engine now, but just put in the ignition. See here, the air vents are coming up. That's a very nice feature. No one needs it, but everyone wants it. So, and they also already come down again when you don't need the air vents. And then here, the whole middle console is inspired by aircraft. and especially this lever is inspired by the Eurofighter. You can come to the dynamic mode and also snow mode when you got slippery conditions. And this button here is for the exhaust pipe. It's an active exhaust pipe. This gives you more of this marvelous sound. We're going to hear it very soon. And this one is for the rear wing. And I must say, this is one design flaw. We are looking at it outside now. It really looks awkward. So as for road driving, we got the 20-inch alloys here now. So of course, if you want it more comfortable, you should maybe not go for the F-Type R Coupé, because the F-Type S got 19-inch alloys and the F-Type Coupé, just the basic version, got the 18-inch alloys. Here we got the bigger 20 now. Of course, that's more sporty, but it has a bit lack of comfort then, so you should be okay with that. However, the car is still also capable for everyday driving. I wouldn't be afraid of longer trips or something like that, because the seats kind of got you very well and also support your back. And you can also use some kind of support for your lower back that's also available electronically. As for the general feeling, when you're in the normal drive mode, well, the car isn't too loud actually. And you can also activate and deactivate the extra exhaust mode. So if you want to go through the city maybe and don't want to arouse so much attention, this is basically possible. What you directly realize is that you got a very direct steering already. When you just give very little and small commands, he immediately reacts. So you got this direct connection to the road. That is a lot of fun and also gives you a very controlled feeling of the whole car. So it's not that you drive a car, you are the car actually, because you're so much connected directly to it. And that's kind of the main characteristic of a pure sports car, that you feel this kind of direct connection. This is really very well done here. The Jaguar F-Type is a car you sit down and you immediately realize, I want to have this car. You can't really say what it is exactly. Is it the interior? Is it the sound? Is it the direct steering? You just want to have it. And this kind of feeling you directly get is something which has appealed to a lot of customers already now. And I think with the Coupé, especially for the more sporty customers, this will appeal even more. For snowy conditions, we can also go to the snow and rain mode, because especially the F-Type R here now is very brutal actually, and you should have some experience with driving such a car. But in the rain and snow mode, you can easily get along, because the torque is kind of drawn back, that you don't have so much wheel spin in the rear. However, the dynamic mode, so shifting lever here now, first of all, it gives you more torque, more sound, more direct steering, and a direct throttle input. And when you're in the dynamic mode, you can't really keep calm on the street. And you also hear it from the inside. Don't have to be near the exhaust. It's the automatic smile mode, I call it. So let's see what's under the hood. I love this kind of hood opening because it reminds me of the E-Type. And here we got the 550 supercharged V8. It delivers unbelievable 680 Newton meter of torque. And that is so brutal. We're showing you the 0 to 100 and even 0 to 200 acceleration right now. And it's really just incredible, I'm telling you. By the way, looking at the trunk, it's not the most important for this kind of car, but you want to carry something with you, maybe your bags. So we got the electric opening here. We got a cover here, you can remove it actually. And here you see it's not a lot of space, but it's way okay for a suitcase, for example. And if you remove the cover, you can even stuff your luggage until the glass roof. Let me tell you something more about the importance of the Coupé now for Jaguar. If you're a roadster fan like me, you might ask yourself, why bring the Coupé at all? And looking at the Jaguar XK, like the bigger GT, we see, for example, in Germany, 2/3 of convertible registrations and 1/3 just for the Coupé. And also looking at Porsche, the Porsche Boxster and the Porsche Cayman, there's also kind of 50-50 split, a little bit more for the Porsche Boxster, also for the convertible. But if we now come to the Porsche 911, there are more registrations for the Coupé than for the convertible. And that shows us the sportier it gets, the more customers also go for the Coupé, and therefore Jaguar also awaits that in future there will be more registrations even for the Coupé than for the Roadster. This will be a very exciting development and will maybe show how sporty Jaguar really got with this car. And now we're testing the F-Type R here on the racetrack on the Bilsterberg. This is the most powerful variation here, 550 horsepower. And of course we are lucky to have this kind of sound. Now we try to see how this rear-driven car works here on that racetrack. The F-Type Coupé is 80% stiffer than the convertible, and we are feeling it here right now because this is the basis for a very good sports car, that you got a very stiff chassis. But due to the pure power here on the rear-wheel drive, it's always fun to go around the corners. And we also got the torque vectoring here in the R version. That means that the wheels on the right or the left side are braked in separately, so they also help to get around the corners even faster. And you get more torque on the outer wheel and less torque on the inner wheel in the berm. It's that sound that also makes you that broad smile on your face. You can't prevent it. We can compare that car to the Porsche 911 Turbo S because we've driven it here on the same racetrack. And I must say the Porsche was way easier to drive. It was more calm because it had the all-wheel drive. Here you realize you have to work a bit more, but you can also have more fun. So this should be your pick if you don't want this very perfectly balanced car with the all-wheel drive and you want the more emotional car to play around with. However, the F-Type does have a very good balance. It's almost 50-50 weight balance in the front and the rear, and that helps you very much here. I think the car is really amazing. You feel this Jaguar emotion, and I think it's one of the most emotional cars on the market right now. You have a very good side support in the seat. You can use it as a good race car, but I think it's not uncomfortable at all, so you can also use it on the road. I think this compromise is what Jaguar aimed for, and it works. So what is my experience from the racetrack now? I've driven the F-Type R Coupé, I've driven the F-Type S Coupé and the F-Type S Convertible. And I wouldn't have imagined that there are so huge differences between them. The F-Type R Coupé is just without any competition among the other F-Type models, and it's just so well to control. It's so stiff on the racetrack, and you always feel that there could be something more, there could be some more speed, and you always got the power. It's really incredible. Especially comparing it with the F-Type S Coupé, there's such a huge difference. In the S Coupé, you feel that it's kind of sliding a bit on the racetrack in comparison to that one, and especially the huge difference to the convertible. The convertible feels like a completely different car on the racetrack because it doesn't have this ability from the upper design line and got 80% less stiffness than the Coupé, and you really realize it. On the road, you wouldn't feel difference that much, but on the racetrack, it's really obvious that the Coupé is way more sporty. When you're inside the city, you should turn off the extra exhaust, and well, that doesn't sound that perfect, you know. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. You shouldn't, you know, annoy other people here living in the city, and because that's also I think important for the image. Because if you're driving a sports car that it's just looking, you know, very aggressive, and everyone is maybe annoyed by it, then it's also bad for the image. So I think the Jaguar F-Type kind of makes this compromise. It looks aggressive, but still it's got that elegant British design from the exterior and the interior. And we also got that from the reactions from people around. Sometimes when we're driving a Porsche, people, well, they look a bit annoyed and say, oh, I'm in this car, I drive a Porsche. And now people are always happy about it and say, oh wow, what a cool car. And so just from the people around here, we got very positive reaction of this car, even if it's that sporty and that loud. The rear view camera, I think it's a good angle. You can check the surrounding very well, because sometimes the angle is too wide or too narrow, and that's quite okay here. And if you're having more pace, then you always feel this very good weight balance, 50 in the front, 50 in the rear almost, and that also makes this car so sporty. As a comparison, we got the F-Type S Coupé here, showing here. So this is the one with 380 horsepower and with the V6 instead of the V8. And we also see that we don't have 2 times 2 flutes here, and just these 2 center flutes. And one reason also, because I wanted to show you this version, is because this kind of S version also got the panoramic glass roof, is optional. And I think it's a nice design feature already from the exterior, because the whole roof is really black then. It's a nice contrast. But even more exciting is from the inside. Because you got the bright interior then and the look towards the scene. You cannot open it, then you have to really go for the Roadster. But you got a very wide panoramic roof, covers kind of the whole interior, and I would definitely go for it if I take the Coupé. About the seats, that's really a major subject. Another sound from another F-Type, very nice. Come closer here to the seats. This is the S version now, but it got the full leather sport seats. In the R version we got it one with the Alcantara in the middle, and here is the full leather version. The seats are actually very good because they offer so much side support here. And they're also kind of broad, also okay for tall people, except for the head. That could be a little bit higher for tall people. And what is more exciting, if we compare the seats now to the seats not from the F-Type S, but from just the F-Type Coupé, the basic version. So this is the F-Type basis model now with 340 horsepower, so 40 horsepower less than the S model, and also with the V6 supercharged. And here we got the basic seats, not the sport seats, they're full leather. And you see, I think just from this one, they kind of remind me of Porsche seats. But when I sit down, I must say in comparison to the sport seats, the seats are kind of slim, especially here for the legs. And you don't have so much side support in the leg area. Also less side support here. And I think they're also not that good for tall people. So I would definitely go for the sport seats. Even if I pick the basic version, just the F-Type Coupé with 340 horsepower, I would definitely pick the sport seats as an optional feature. Not only for the sportiness, but also for the comfort. Sometimes you say you pick the basic seats if you want more comfort, but I think in this case, the sport seats also offer more sportiness and more comfort. So to conclude about the F-Type Coupé and especially about the F-Type R Coupé, it is really incredibly sporty. And I must say it is one of these cars that just make you smile always when you hear the sound and when you feel the steering, the direct connection to the road. And it always makes you a bit of sweat, you know. When driving this car, you can't really drive calm. You're always kind of excited. Maybe from the emotional details in the interior, of course from the emotional exterior, and especially because of the driving behavior. It always makes you feel kind of exciting, and it's always a bit of sport for yourself, for your own body to drive this car. And I think Jaguar really got Porsche with this car. A lot of more Porsche customers will maybe pick this one because they say, okay, I want the more emotional car. It is not as perfect as a Porsche, and maybe not as fast, maybe as a lap time on the Nordschleife or on the Bilsterberg. But that doesn't really matter for the road driving. Here you seek more emotion, and it doesn't matter if you have 10 seconds more or less on the Nordschleife. And so this more rather emotional appeal might also attract even more customers now. And some even waited on the Coupé now, and they have now the chance for this incredible design line and this incredible piece of British architecture.